My name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I'm coming to you with my book reviews for the week of everything that I have read. But first of all, before we get into that, just a little bit of housekeeping. Just to let you guys know, I know for the last few weeks I've been doing the vlogs, and the vlogs have been going up on Saturdays. I've actually decided to change that to running the vlogs from Monday through Sunday. So the vlogs are going to go up late Sunday night. And then these videos are going to go up on Mondays. So we're moving everything by a day, basically. So yeah, that's basically how that's going to work, just to let you guys know. So I had a great reading week this week. I finished 4 books. So let me share them with you. So the first book that I finished was 6 Sweets Under by Sarah Fox. This is the first book in the True Confections mystery series. I read it on my Kindle and I gave it 4 stars. This was an enjoyable read about our main character, Becca, who is a former actress in Hollywood. She's moved home to her hometown in Vermont, which is actually like Venice in Vermont. Like there's like canals and stuff. My one thing about this is that I didn't understand how that works. Like it didn't really, like it said like this is what the town looks like, but it didn't really like, was it built that way? Why was it built that way? I wanted to know that. Anyway, the town curmudgeon was murdered and they are looking for the killer. Excuse me. It was a good story. I liked the characters. Dizzy, who is Becca's best friend, was really, really nice. There is a bit of a relationship in this one where Becca has a boyfriend at the beginning, but stuff ends up happening and, you know, the local cop that she's known since she was a kid, of course, you know, at some point there's going to be a romance. Like I said, this is the first book in the series. I enjoyed it. You meet a lot of the town people, which is typical for like cozy mysteries. They're kind of building the world, if you will, but it wasn't overwhelming. And I did enjoy it. I liked the writing style. I thought it was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to reading book number 2 in December. The next book that I finished, just going to very briefly mention, was Claudia and the Phantom Phone Calls by Ann M. Martin, second book in the Babysitters Club series. I read this on my Kindle as well, and I gave it 4 stars. Not much more to say about that. The next book that I finished was The Hunting Season by Janice K. Johnson. I read this on Kobo Plus, so for those of you who have Kobo Plus, you can read this one. This is Harlequin Intrigue novel number 1927, and I gave this book 3.5 stars. So this one might not be the easiest read for some people. So this does deal with a serial killer, which, I mean, it is what it is. But it also deals a lot with child abuse, basically. So our main character, whose name is escaping me right now, Lindsay, she is a child protection services worker, and she deals with some very difficult cases. And there is someone who is seeking justice, if you will, for the suspected child abusers who maybe got off with a lighter sentence or didn't get convicted or charged at all, and is murdering them in the same way that the children themselves died. So it's not an easy read in terms of that, but the story was really good. And it did keep me guessing as to who was the killer. There is a relationship in here between her and the cop Daniel. Now, the reason it only got a 3.5 star as opposed to a 4 is because the relationship itself is what I didn't get. Like, it didn't seem believable to me. Sorry, the cats are playing and fighting beside me. It didn't seem believable to me. There was a lot of other things going on that, you know, there's a serial killer. And that always, there's a fine line with romantic suspense where, you know, they're running from like a bad guy, but yet there's a romance. And I mean, it was good, but I just found the relationship to really fall second place in this one. And I just didn't buy into it because, especially at the beginning of the book, they didn't like each other at all. I mean, he suspected her of being the killer. So it's hard to go from that extreme to suddenly, oh my God, I love you kind of an idea. So yeah, I liked it. I'm not saying don't read it. It was a good book. Janice K. Johnson does some amazing, amazing books. But if you're reading this for the romance, you might be disappointed. But if you're reading it for the actual story itself, it was really quite good. And the last book that I finished this week was kind of a read on a whim when I decided to start an audiobook, and that was Lost and Found Sisters by Jill Shalvis. I listened to this one on Audible because I do have it, but it's also available on Kindle Unlimited for those of you who might want to read it there. I gave this book 5 stars, and like I said, I did listen to it on audio, and it was narrated by Karen White, who, in my opinion, is the voice of Jill Shalvis. I'm pretty sure that she does all of Jill Shalvis's books on audio, and I really, really like her narration. So this is the story of Quinn. So Quinn is not having the easiest time of it. A couple years earlier, her sister died in a car accident, and she's kind of just, going day by day, essentially. She had a boyfriend, and they kind of split up because she emotionally couldn't be there for him anymore. And then she finds out, this is not a spoiler, she finds out that she was actually adopted. And her birth mother had passed away and left her a bit of an inheritance. And also a full-blooded sister from the same, like her mother and her father. So she heads up to this small town called Wildstone. This is the first book in the Wildstone series, by the way. And she's learning now to navigate this new world, this new life that she has with a sister and with this small town and this inheritance. And it was such a good story. So this one is not a full-on contemporary romance like Jill Shalvis typically does. There is a romance in here. It is a big part of the plot with Quinn and a gentleman by the name of Mick. And I really, really like the romance between the two of them. But this also very heavily deals with her dealing with not only the death of her sister 2 years ago, but dealing with this new sister that she has, who's only 15 years old and quite angry at the world for obvious reasons. Her mother's gone, her father is absent. She's got this new sister she knows nothing about. You get a lot of it from Tilly, which is the 15-year-old girl's perspective. And it was just such a good story, such a good story. So the Wildstone series, for those of you who don't know, is, and I say this a lot when it comes to romance novels, or women's fiction or whatever, you do not have to read these in order. All the stories take place in Wildstone, but you don't need to have read the previous book. So for example, with this one, our main character Quinn owns or runs this cafe. So maybe in a later book, there's characters who go into the cafe and they say hi to Quinn. But you wouldn't have had to have read the first book in order to, do you know what I mean? So basically that's the way that the Wildstone series works. They're just kind of all set in the same small town. Unlike a series like Heartbreaker Bay that she does, where the characters kind of meet each other and, one story follows another kind of an idea. So I think there's 7 books in this series, so I'm really looking forward to getting through the rest of them. There is a novella that comes after this one that I might read before I read book 2. We shall see. I am going to read it. I just haven't decided when yet. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get to it this month. It's only 50 pages. I should just go ahead and read it. But anyway, whatever. So yeah, this was a 5-star read. I mean, it's Jill Shalvis. Now, in terms of spice level, again, going back to Heartbreaker Bay or the Animal Magnetism series, if you guys have read that, those are really, really spicy. So this one does have some adult content, but the spice has been turned down on this one. It's not absent, but it's definitely been taken down a few notches. And they are very easily scenes that you could skip if you really wanted to. It is open door ever so slightly. Whereas again, the Heartbreaker Bay series, the door is wide open. In this case, the door is open, a smidgen, if you will. So yeah. So that is what I read this week, you guys. So what am I currently reading? I am currently reading on audio The Slowest Burn by Sarah Chamberlain, which I'm about halfway through and really enjoying. I am also reading A Match Made in Montana by Joanna Sims, which is a Harlequin special edition novel. And actually, I plan on starting and finishing today because I grabbed it on audio and it's only an hour long. And I just got this in the mail and I forgot to show it to you guys. This is Bedtime Stories for Privileged Children by Daniel Fox. I follow him on Instagram. He is a British comedian and he is freaking hilarious. And he does these little sketches with these stories that he's written for privileged children. And if you do not follow him on Instagram, you need to, and hunt out one of these videos. They are hilarious. I mean, and he narrates the audiobook. And I'm like, okay, he narrates the audiobook. I have to listen to it. So I'm probably going to start and finish this one today. And I'll report back next week what my thoughts on it were. But I'm very excited just to listen to this one while I'm doing some cross-stitching. So anyway, guys, that is it for this video. I do hope that you enjoyed it. And until my next one, take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.